So what is a double stop? Well, at its simplest form, it's just a couple of notes played together designed to enhance a melody. Often it's chord tones spaced a third apart. So the 1 and the 3, the 3 and the 5 and the 7. And while that's not always the case, it's certainly not always the case, that's what we'll take a look at today. So if you're interested in learning a little bit more, stick around. Okay, at the beginning of the video, what you saw me play was the G major scale, and each note was harmonized with the third, the diatonic third of that scale, and that's a fancy way of saying that I played 2 notes from each chord in the key of G. So we'll look at the triads in G major. That's G major, and then A minor, and then B minor, and C major, right? D major, E minor, F sharp diminished, and back to G major. So those are triads, 3 notes, a 1, 3, and a 5, or 1 flat 3 and a 5, or 1 flat 3 and flat 5, depending on which type of chord you're playing. Major again is 1, 3, 5, minor is 1 flat 3, 5, and diminished is 1 flat 3 and a flat 5. But we're just going to look at the 1 and the 3 for each one of these chord shapes. So for the G major here, this is a 3, a 5, and a 1. I'm just going to take the 1, which is on the top note here, and the 3 is right there. And then for A minor, we'll do the same thing, right? A minor is here. The 1 is still on top. The flat 3 is in a little different spot in relationship to the A because it's a flat 3, not a 3, so it's here. And the way I usually finger this is, to keep things consistent, is to use my first and second finger on the major shape, right? So 1 and 3, right? And then I'll keep my third finger on the third string to handle the flat 3 on the A minor, and I use my third finger to grab the 1. So I have this motion, that's major and that's minor. And that allows me to move up the scale in double stops fairly easily. So there's the 1 and 3 for G, the 1 and flat 3 for A, the 1 and flat 3 for B minor, right? Same for C major, 1 and 3, 1 and 3 for D, E minor, 1 and flat 3. You may notice that the diminished looks like a minor shape here, and it's because we're not playing the 5. So the note that distinguishes minor from diminished is left out, so they look the same. So 1 and flat 3 for the F sharp diminished, and then I'm back to the G. Okay, so that's easy enough. How do we use this? Well, let's say I had a G chord in a song, right? What I might do is to play some of the other triads, or in this case double stops, to help define G. Right. If you remember from the adjacent triad pairs video I did a while back, the next intervals triad is completely composed of embellishment tones, not part of the chord. And then the triad interval after that is completely composed of chord tones. So the G double stop and the B minor double stop are all chord tones for G, and then the A minor is going to be embellishment tones. So if I played something like this for G, what I get is my G chord tones, the tension of the embellishment, and then I end up back on G chord tones. For G, this is a 3 and this is a 5. But for B minor, this is a 1 and a flat 3. Okay? So, what we hear in a song like Sam and Dave's Soul Man is just exactly that. The first chord is a G, right? And Steve Cropper plays that. Then it moves to F, right? And so it would be that A minor for F as the chord tones. And so he simply moves back, right? So that's the F, right? And the same thing happens in the rest of the song. It goes B flat, C, and D. And he takes the same ideal You also see the same sort of thing in a song like Brown Eyed Girl, right? Where it's, right? Chord moves to C, they do the same thing. It's worth noting that this shape looks exactly the same when we use the second string and the fourth string, where now the root is moved up from the first string to the second string. So this would be C major, right? And then following up the scale, D minor, E minor, F, G, A, B diminished, and back to C. So if you had a song that moved from G to C, for instance, you could play, and then the other thing that's worth noting is that one chord's 1 and 3 is another chord's 3 and 5. And if we move back to the key of G major, we can see that really easily. So 1 and 3 for G, but for E minor, right, the G is the flat 3 and the B is the 5. So I can use this to express G major or E minor. And that's what's happening a lot of times in double stops. You really want to know what chord is being played before you can figure out how to express it with double stops. Because it doesn't always have to be just the 1 and the 3. It can be the 3 and the 5. If it's a 7th chord, it can be 5 and 7. But those are all spread a third apart. And so these shapes are potentially a 1 and a 3, a 3 and a 5, or a 5 and a 7. You just have to decide what's relevant and how to use it. All right, we'll dig a little bit deeper into this ideal in some forthcoming videos. But in the meantime, if you thought this was helpful, please leave a comment. If there's something I did wrong, please leave a comment. And I'll leave a PDF in the description so that you can learn to play that G major scale harmonized in thirds as double stops. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.